My wife didn't know her lover confessed everything before he jumped. Have you ever watched the person you love most in the world become a stranger right before your eyes? I saw it happen on a Tuesday, illuminated by the cold blue light of a phone screen at 2:17 a.m. Her phone, the one she'd started guarding like a state secret, buzzed on the nightstand. A single message glowed. "Don't forget what you promised." Sarah didn't stir. She was a perfect portrait of innocence, her breathing even, her face untroubled. But I knew. In that silent, sterile bedroom on the Upper East Side, with the distant wail of a siren bleeding through the double-paned glass, I felt the first crack in the foundation of my life. The mystery wasn't if she was cheating, but how deep the rot went. I had to know what she promised. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my world. We built a life in New York City that was the envy of our friends, a beautiful apartment, successful careers, a partnership I thought was forged in steel. I was a financial analyst. She was a rising star in art curation. I was loyal, steady, the rock. She was the brilliant, beautiful kite I was proud to hold the string for. But kites are meant to fly, and sometimes they break the string. The change was subtle at first. Late nights at the gallery became more frequent. Business trips to Chicago and Miami started popping up on weekends. She'd come home smelling of a perfume I didn't recognize, and a coldness that had nothing to do with the city's biting wind. She became a master of manipulation, turning my questions back on me. "Are you accusing me of something, Alex? After everything we've built, I'm exhausted, and you're interrogating me?" Villains, her and whoever was on the other end of those late-night texts, felt untouchable. They were living in a world I wasn't invited to, and I was just the fool paying the rent. The breaking point came in a crowded restaurant in Soho. We were celebrating my promotion, but she was distant, her eyes constantly flicking to her phone hidden in her lap. I saw a reflection in her wine glass, a quick, smug smile as she typed. My heart hammered against my ribs. I excused myself, went to the restroom, and my hands were shaking so hard I could barely turn on the faucet. I looked at the man in the mirror, broken, humiliated, a ghost at his own celebration. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark of our living room, the city lights painting cold streaks on the floor, and I made a decision. The loyal husband was dead. New man was born from the ashes, strategic, cold, and hungry for a very specific kind of justice. My first step was to become a ghost. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled Exxon YPD detective named Costello. He was expensive, but worth every penny. While Sarah was on a gallery trip to Dallas, Costello was sending me time-stamped photos. Sarah and a man laughing as they checked into the Jewel Hotel. The man was Mark, a smarmy real estate developer I'd met at one of her gallery openings. He had the kind of face you just wanted to punch. The proof was a sickness in my gut, but it was also a weapon. I gathered everything. Hotel receipts she'd carelessly left in her coat pocket, credit card statements detailing dinners I wasn't at, and Costello's detailed reports. I even managed to install a keylogger on her laptop. The conversations I read were vile, mocking me, my work, my life. They called me the anchor. They were planning a future, funded by my money. With the evidence secured in a bank deposit box, I set the traps. I started moving my assets, creating a new, untouchable financial entity with the help of a shark of a divorce attorney. I made sure our joint accounts were structured in a way that any large, sudden withdrawals would trigger an immediate freeze. Sarah, blinded by her arrogance, noticed nothing. She was too busy planning her life with Mark. The social trap was next. I planned a lavish 10th anniversary party at our apartment, inviting all our friends, family, and, most importantly, her colleagues and superiors from the art world. I even extended a special invitation to Mark and his wife, feigning ignorance. Sarah was thrilled, seeing it as the perfect stage to maintain her flawless public image before she eventually left me. The night of the party was electric. Our apartment, usually a sanctuary, felt like a stage set for an execution. Sarah was radiant, a vision in a silver dress, playing the part of the adoring wife. Mark was there, smug and self-assured, his hand brushing Sarah's back when he thought no one was looking. I watched them from across the room. A cold calm settled over me. At the peak of the evening, I gathered everyone for a toast. I raised my glass, my voice steady. "To 10 years with the love of my life, Sarah," I began. She beamed, squeezing my arm. "A woman of impeccable taste, loyalty, and honesty." I let the words hang in the air. Then I turned to the large screen on the wall, where a slideshow of our life together had been playing. And in the spirit of honesty, I said, my voice dropping, "I have a short film I'd like to share." The screen flickered. The first image was a photo from Costello. Sarah and Mark kissing in the lobby of the Jewel Hotel in Dallas. A collective gasp went through the room. The slideshow continued as seats, text messages, their own words, my words, their plans all laid bare. The color drained from Sarah's face. Mark looked like a cornered animal. His wife started screaming. The room erupted into a cacophony of whispers and accusations. Sarah's boss, a stern woman who valued reputation above all, stared at her with pure ice. Her perfect world was incinerating around her. She tried to grab my arm, her voice a strangled whisper. "Alex, stop, please." I pulled away, as if her touch was poison. "The locks will be changed tomorrow," I said, my voice barely audible over the chaos. "My lawyer will be in touch." The aftermath was brutal. Sarah was fired. Her social circle, built on a foundation of lies, abandoned her. The divorce was swift and merciless. The evidence was irrefutable. She got nothing. Mark's life imploded too. His wife left him, taking him for everything she could. But the story doesn't end there. About a month later, I got a call from a restricted number. It was Mark. He sounded broken, pathetic. He was crying, rambling about how Sarah had ruined him, how he'd lost everything. He confessed it all, every sordid detail, every lie, every betrayal, as if unburdening his soul to a priest. He told me he was standing on the edge of the parking garage at his now empty office building. He said he couldn't live with the shame. He told me everything, and then, after a long, terrible silence, the line went dead. I never told Sarah. I let her believe he just disappeared, another man who'd used her and left. I wanted her to live with the not knowing, still live in the same apartment. It's quiet now. Sometimes, late at night, I see her across the street, just standing there, a shadow in the glow of the streetlights. She never comes closer. She just watches the building where her life used to be. I don't feel anger anymore, or sadness. I just feel quiet. The revenge wasn't the victory I thought it would be. It was just an ending. The city is still just as loud, the sirens still wail in the distance, but inside my walls, there is only silence. The truest revenge is to simply outlive the pain they caused. The end.